talking about movies with movie guy Will Meyer, here to talk about three of his picks. The first one on the list, Will, is The King of Staten Island.
Yeah, this is a movie that was supposed to come out and be like a big summer comedy hit, but because of the coronavirus, they pulled it and actually put it on video on demand. So this is a movie that stars Pete Davidson, who you may know from Saturday Night Live or because he dated Ariana Grande. It's a movie that's where Pete Davidson plays this 20-something-year-old guy named Scott who is kind of aimless, and he really has this serious case of arrested development ever since his father passed away. His father was a firefighter. And suddenly, though, he's kind of forced to start living his life. And so this movie really kind of focuses around Pete Davidson's own life. A lot of what happens in the movie is actually true. Pete Davidson's own father was a 9/11 firefighter, actually. He died on 9/11. And also a lot of the stuff in the movie, like the fact that he deals with some mental illness, he still lives in his mom's basement, all that is true. And I think it does a good job at actually just nailing the essence of Pete Davidson, which is kind of tough to do, actually, to have someone play themselves. It's harder than you might think. But they nail his essence, which is he's a really complicated guy. He's got a lot of issues, but he also is, I think, a really sweet guy. And that's what I actually just responded to the most in this movie is the sweetness of it. It really surprised me. I think that it's really poignant. There are a lot of poignant moments, especially as he's kind of having this emotional growth. But at the same time, it's not over the top. It's not too sentimental. But of course, it's Judd Apatow, so you are going to laugh in this movie. I don't think I laughed as much as I expected to, though, just because I wasn't in a theater full of people watching this movie. And I think that's kind of where we're missing out is with comedies. I think they're better when you watch them with other people, too. So King of Staten Island, I think it's on demand June 12th, so it's certainly worth checking out.
Awesome. Next up, The Vast of Night.
Yeah, The Vast of Night. This is a little tiny movie. It doesn't star anyone you've ever heard of before. It has no budget, first-time director. I saw it at a drive-in a couple of weeks ago, and I was just blown away by it. It's about this young, charismatic radio DJ and a meek sort of switchboard operator. It takes place in the late 1950s over the course of one night. And they discover this strange radio frequency, and they set out to discover the source of it, and they discover some really creepy stuff. This is a movie that does just so many things so well that I was really impressed by. One, it establishes this tone that's really creepy, that's eerie, but kind of nostalgic too, kind of like The Goonies or E.T. or recently like the Stranger Things, kind of like that. And it maintains that throughout, but it never dips its toes into scary. It's always just kind of creepy. Love the dialogue, it's really sharp. Love the characters at the center of this and their relationship. I was just really, really impressed by this movie. Now, you're not going to watch it and think that it's the best movie of the year or anything like that, but I was just impressed by it, and I can't wait to see what the director does next. So it's this fun little movie that you can watch with your family even. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's called The Vast of Night.
And the last one, The Last Dance. This has been a very popular, I guess you call it, documentary. I've seen a ton of people watching while they've been at home the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't usually review like TV or long form series like this, but I was addicted to this when it came out, and I didn't expect to be. I grew up, we're about the same age. I think when we were kids, Michael Jordan was the most famous person alive, it seems like, and so was definitely a basketball fan and still am, but didn't expect to respond to this series like I did. As you mentioned, it's this really popular docu-series. It's about Michael Jordan's final season with the Bulls from 97 to 98, and the reason it's coming out right now is because Michael Jordan said it could be released. He allowed that last season to be filmed, and he did so with the stipulation that he could say if and when it could ever be released. And he's finally doing that. He hesitated for so long because it doesn't always paint him in a flattering light. You see him in this series being kind of a bully at times. Also, you just see what a competitive guy he was. I mean, he takes betting on throwing quarters against the wall with his bodyguards in the basement. He takes that as seriously as he does the NBA playoffs. So, I mean, he's like the most competitive person alive, which I think got underestimated. It does have some issues, though. Michael Jordan is a producer of it, so, I think that's not always good. If he can have some control of the narrative, that's not really what you want. Also, it doesn't focus enough on the other people. This is supposed to be a docuseries about the Bulls, not just about Michael Jordan. And I think that, Steve Kerr, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, I would have liked to have seen more of them. But at the end of the day, I get it. If you've got the best basketball player alive on your team, you're going to focus on that.
Thanks for joining us this morning and giving us some fresh movie ideas. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.